Welcome. Righto, so this is me, this has been up for the last 30 minutes, so I'll just skip that. But if you want to get in touch with me, just come and see me after the presentation, because I only have 20 minutes up here, so I'm going to fly through this. No, yeah, that's right. I am, this out of the way. So what I wanted to cover today is longevity, DeFi risk, and continuous improvement. So I think the topic is important right now because we're seeing this whole bear market going all the way down and everybody's getting wrecked. And when I say everybody, like it seems that like all the smart people, all the smart money, they're all getting wiped out and us are still alive. Yes. Right? So like all 3AC getting wrecked, Blockfolio is getting wrecked, and Celsius is getting wrecked, and the guys running Luna, but that was a Ponzi anyway, but they're getting wrecked. So like it's not good, but all these things can be avoided, okay? You just need to, like you can be affected by greed a lot in this thing, right? So you need to be aware of that, be aware of your thinking, and because if you want to get good at anything, you need to be in the game for as long as you can, right? So what we're going to cover is why reducing exposure to risk is so important. I'm going to talk about some general DeFi risks, how to recover from ruin. I'm going to talk about the 1 to 2% risk rule, the differences between dollars risk and what your position size is. We'll cover risk reward, and we'll talk about the risk reward tool. We may not even get to the stuff at the bottom because I've only got 20 minutes, but we will cover a whole bunch of continuous improvement and trading journals. If you don't have a trading journal and you're a trader, do get one. All right, so the only way to get good at anything is via practice. Hope you agree with that. So the only way to practice trading or DeFi or investing or anything is to have money, because trading without money and just doing paper-based trading, that's not the same, because you don't feel the losses, right? You don't feel the fear of losing or the elation when you win. Because if you're on a big position on a paper trade and you're up $1 million or down $1 million, it's like, it's just make-believe money, so it doesn't matter, right? So you need to have money to actually trade to feel it. All right, so therefore the more money you have in your hand, the longer you can trade, and the longer you can trade, the more practice you're going to get. So the more practice you're going to get, the better you are going to be at whatever it is that you're doing, right? So it stands to reason then reducing the amount of money that you lose when you're starting out is paramount to your longevity and success, right? That doesn't mean that you need to start with $1 million. It just means that you need to have money around that you can put in to practice, right? So this is all the money that's been lost in the crypto market in the last 6 months. So this is the first half of 2022. Not by me, if only I wish, but this is with like DeFi hacks, and I think the Luna stuff was in here too, maybe not, but as you can see, even like people that are running protocols, so you would think like the smart people that are coding and big funds and traders and stuff like that that we follow. That's the ETH ecosystem. That's $1 billion with a B. Solana, 400 million. There's my water. These aren't small sums, right? Next. This is rect.news. Who's heard of this website? I love it, it's great. There's a little link up at the top on rec.news, which is they keep a track of the leaderboard of all of the protocols that have ever been hacked. They're up to 98. This is just the top 24. So the number one there is the Ronin network. That's $624 million. That's the Axiom Infinity network. Polygon, Poly network, 611 million. Wormhole hack, which was fully refunded by the Jump VCs, who were the guys that were backing it, 326. That was in February of this year. That's the bridge that the Solana guys did. So, like, the guys that are running Wormhole are gigabrain bloody programmers, and even they fucked up. Right? So don't feel bad if you lose money, all right? Because we all do, just to certain degrees. But the thing is, what I'm going to cover here is just some stuff that even if these guys took a hand of it, they probably wouldn't have lost as much money as they did. So, risk of ruin, we've probably seen this before, so I'll skip that one. So, DeFi risks, general DeFi risks. So if you're going to get involved in DeFi, what you need to be aware of at a high level, okay? So self-custody is a really, really good thing. It empowers you to be in control of your own money so you can do with it as you like, but the downside is that you are responsible for your money. So there's no help desk, there's no phone number. If you lose your password, you're done. If you lose your hardware wallet, you can still buy another one as long as you've got your seed words. So don't freak out if your hardware wallet's broken. You can just go order another one from the manufacturer. It's your password that's key, your seed words. All right. Next one, smart contract risk. A smart contract is the program that runs on chain. That's what they call it, a smart contract. And depending on who wrote it, it may not be that smart, but that is what it is. So unless you're a programmer and you can check it yourself, you're trusting that the smart contract dev does what it says. So that means you need to do your own research and figure out whether the guy writing it is actually doing it with good intentions. Most do. Pro tip from me would be the first of anything is usually the legit one, and all of the copies afterwards are just there for the money or there to rip you off. So the first one to do a yield farm, and then somebody just copies it and just changes the color and the font and then launches the same thing, probably dodgy AF. So avoid it. Depositing money into a smart contract is risky, so you may not get it back. So legit projects will employ third-party auditors to review the code, and those auditors will suggest bug fixes and ways for you to improve. This is not a safety guarantee. On this list here, Ronin, where we go here, Wormhole was audited by Neodyme, still got wrecked. Crypto.com was audited by Deloitte. Everyone should know who Deloitte is. Still wrecked. V-Finance was audited by two people, Slowmist and Certec. Still got wrecked. Doesn't matter. So this is why we always say do your own research. Just because they're audited doesn't mean that it's perfectly safe. Therefore, don't go all in. Just still put in how much you want to risk. There have been hacks and exploits where it's been an inside job. So the auditors, because they've seen the code and they suggest fixes, they might not suggest all the fixes. I think I've covered exploits, but there's other ones in there like flashline attacks and price oracle manipulation. So a price oracle manipulation would be, in fact, this one happened yesterday or the day before with a protocol on Solana. Someone got a flash loan using Solana. They borrowed $10 million in a flash loan. They went and purchased the token for this particular protocol and pushed the price from $1 to $10 or something. And then proceeded to withdraw $3.5 million worth of something and then sold the token back down again and then walked away with the money. So the reason that they could do that was because they had a flash loan. Anyone know what that is, a flash loan? Like 3 people with their hand up? Okay, good. So a flash loan originated out of the guys from Aave. So in one transaction, as long as you can take as much money as you want, but you have to give it back within the same transaction. And you pay a fee for doing that. So you don't actually have to give up collateral. So this guy took out the 10 million from the Solana flash loan, did some sneaky things with manipulating the price of this token so he could exploit and withdraw some money from the protocol and then gave back the $10 million all in one go. Yeah, so that's a risk. All of these is a risk to be aware of. So if a protocol runs on a token and there aren't multiple markets for it, and there's only one market, and you can buy something that has a large enough size to push price, that is an attack vector. Rug pulls. This is where the money in the smart contract is literally pulled from under you. It mainly happens in liquidity pools. Now, legit projects will lock their funds in a pool at a time, and they'll just to bootstrap the pool, so they'll lock it in there so it stays there. But a rug pull is where, if say they put in like $1 million worth of liquidity and everybody's trading, and the price has heaps of liquidity, so the price doesn't move that much, but then the person that put that original money in there takes it out, so now there's only $100 worth of liquidity, and people are still trading the same amounts of money, price will just collapse, and then it'll skyrocket and it'll collapse, and the volatility will be crazy. So, you know, if there's money in the pool, you just got to make sure it's in there. Ask questions, how did it get in there in the first place? Is it locked? You know, whose tokens are they? Do they belong to the founders or the DAO or whatever? Stated APY versus real APY. So this is annual percentage yield. So APY and APR are slightly different. APR, which is the annual percentage rate, that's just the interest rate that you get. And the APY is the rate that you would get if you compounded that money every day for a year. And that really only starts to make a difference once you get up to around 30-40% APR. So a 70% APR is 100% APY. So if you compound something at 70% every day, you effectively double your money in 12 months' time. But when a pool gets advertised, it'll list the current APY, and you'll look at it and you'll go, oh, this is awesome because the number's so high, right? But that's because there probably isn't that much money in the pool to begin with because they just started. So they use it as a marketing tool. So everybody just rushes and puts their money in there. And then you'll find that everybody else does that, but there's only so much rewards to go around. And then the APY drops and everybody goes, oh, where's all my rewards? You tricked me. Well, they sort of didn't. The rate at the time was true. They just didn't tell you the whole truth because there wasn't any money in there in the first place. So they all have X amount of money to give out in rewards. And the more money that jump in, they have to share it with more people, which is why the rate drops. So check that before you jump in. So what's the total value locked in that pool before you decide to put it in as a deposit? Because if you jump into a pool and then realize it's not worth it, then you jump out again, you might find that the fees that it costs you to get in, plus the fees that it costs you to get out, means you're at a loss, especially on the F chain. Like on a chain like Solana or AVAX, it may not be such a big issue. Well, there you go, we just talked about that. So gas costs to get in and out, I only got 6 minutes. Fake tokens. So DeFi is permissionless, which is awesome, but that also means that anybody can do anything. Believe it or not, somebody decided to make a will slap token. And it pumped for a day. What more commonly happens is that somebody, like there'll be a hype protocol about to launch, then somebody will create a contract that has the same or a similar name to it, and they'll launch it because they know that there are R bots and other bots and people using scanners, and they're just waiting for smart contracts to launch, and they know what the ticker is, and as soon as they see it, they'll just jump in and they'll start buying it. You know, fingers crossed, I hope this is the right one. But then other people see that and they'll go, oh, that must be the right one. So then they jump in and it's a big gamble and they get wrecked. So if you're going to do that, actually wait for, you know, the guys running the show to say, this is the contract, this is the wallet address, this is the button, use this. While at the same time not falling for fake owners, then posting, pretending to be people, like, you know, because you can have a fake Discord account, a fake Twitter account, and yeah. I'm making it sound real awesome, aren't I? I'm trying to protect you guys. Don't want to get wrecked, all right? Other things to consider, all right? Who are the devs? Are they anonymous? In my opinion, it doesn't matter. There have been anonymous people that have ripped people off, and there have been people that are well known that have ripped people off, and vice versa, so it doesn't matter. But to some people it does. Have the smart contracts been audited? An audited smart contract is better than one that hasn't been. They've just demonstrated to you that it doesn't matter. It can still have holes in it, so be cautious. Can you deposit and withdraw freely? Don't fall for ones where you deposit into a contract and you can't get it out. If there's a time lock on it, be prepared to leave it in there for the time because you can't get it out. Is the APY ridiculously high? If it is, what is the reason? It might be high for a reason. So like I said at the beginning, nobody else is in there, so the only one getting all the rewards, but it might be because the token that is being handed out is going up also. And that's okay. You just need to be aware of that, because if it starts going down, then you need to bail. Is the liquidity locked? Can more tokens be minted at will? This happens a lot on Binance Smart Chain. Somebody will run a protocol, they have all these tokens, and they'll run it for a while, and then next day, boom, they've just minted 1 million tokens, dumped it on the market and taken all your money. So you need to be aware of that. Is there a time lock? You've got to worry about impermanent loss. And I've only got 3 minutes, so I can't go over that. 1 to 2, I did want to go through this. So this is a trading one, so let's finish on this in 3 minutes. Christ. Okay, so losers in a row to lose 50% of your account. So what I preach is the 1 to 2% risk rule, okay? So you want to trade with appropriate size. So your risk doesn't equal position size, all right? So a simple example, so if you buy one Bitcoin at 20 grand and you put a stop loss at 19 grand, your position size is 20 grand. If your stop loss gets hit, you've got to sell your Bitcoin for 19. That's a loss of $1,000, okay? You risked $1,000, but your position size was $20,000. They're not the same thing. Just wanted to clear that up, because a lot of people say, oh, you know, I'm risking $100 on this, but you end up having to buy because the distance between your entry and your exit makes it like 20 grand. So you're not actually risking 20 grand because you should be exiting when your strategy says to. The mistake people make is going, oh, it'll turn around. Oh, it'll turn around. And then it doesn't, and then you wrecked, and then you lose even more than the $1,000 that you said you were going to risk in the first place. That's how you get wrecked. Don't do that. You've got to make these decisions before you enter the trade, because you are not in a heightened emotional state. You think more logically when you're not in the trade. Who fills me on that one? Whose trades here? Like, yeah? When you're not in a trade, you're thinking real clearly, right? As soon as you exit a trade at a loss, and I bet you $1 million, you looked at the chart and you've gone, ah, shit, of course it was bearish. Or, ah, shit, I thought it was bull. Of course, because I missed this and I missed that, right? And you blind yourself to that stuff when you're in the trade, because your emotions saying, well, it's your ego that's trying to protect you and say, you're a good trader, bro. Like, don't worry, it'll turn around. That's your ego. Your ego is trying to help you, but sometimes they can fuck you over, all right? 1 to 2% risk rule. All these blue lines and stuff here. If you risk 1% of your account per trade, the top blue line, it goes all the way over to the end here and ends at 70. So this is $10,000 from the top. Let's pretend you're the unluckiest trader in the world that has ever existed ever, and you lose 70 trades in a row. If you do that, but you still listen to me and say only risk 1% of your account, you will still have $5,000 left. You could be the worst trader ever to exist ever, and you would still have half your money left if you risk 1% of your account each trade. And that goes down in scale, right? So if you're risking $1,000 and you lose then the next trade you would be risking, yes, I know. That one, right. Yeah, so your next trade will be $1,000, and then it might be $900, and then you're risking 1% of whatever's left, so it might be 850 and whatever. So it's not like you're risking 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, because you would end up being one of these ones here, and you'd be wrecked in like this guy here. If you risk 20%, you're done in 10 trades, so that doesn't work, all right? So it's 1% of whatever you got left. So don't think you can't do this, you just need to be more disciplined. Yeah, I'm out. I really wanted to show you this Excel sheet, but I can't. Go on quickly. See how I sucked him in? That was good, huh? Okay, this is a visual representation of risk reward. So it's really small. Up the top, it says strike rate of 50%. So meaning that you win, half the trades that you take, right? But the risk reward here is 1 to 3, meaning that, let's go back to this other slide here. So here would be your entry, and here is your exit. So if you're wrong and it goes backwards, you lose $100. But if you're right and it goes up to here, you win $300, or you risk $1 and you win $3. So whatever it is for you, right? So you're going to lose half the time, but your winners are bigger than your losers are. So you can see here, this is what your P&L would look like, and there are 1,000 trades in this sheet. And all these wins and losses are using this random formula. For those of you Excel nerds in here, power. So F9, where is it? F9? Oh, function F9, not Microsoft F9. Okay, so there we go. So I'm just randomizing this. That line goes up no matter what I do. Now, I could say a strike rate of 10%. So I am really bad, so I lose 90% of the time and I only win 10% of the time. So this is obviously going to go down, right? It just goes down, yeah? So I'm losing 90% of the time, that makes sense, right? But what if my risk reward was, say, 1 to 10? It's not too bad. It's actually going sideways the more that you do this. See? So I'm still losing 90% of the time, but because my winners are so huge, it sort of works out, your P&L sort of goes sideways. So for something that's really that big, you really need 1 to 12. I'm not advocating this at all. I can't do this. There are people out there that trade like this. So they're commodities guys, because what they do is they will try and forecast the weather, and they'll look at orange juice futures or wheat or whatever, and they'll try and predict what the harvest is going to be. And these trades go on for months and months and months and months and months, right? So they'll take this little risk, which is why they survive, because they know that they're going to get it wrong 9 times out of 10. But if they get it right, and the yield is huge, everybody's buying wheat really cheap or something, that trade will go on for the rest of the year, and their wins will be massive, right? But I can't trade like that. I need to see constant wins. I need to be encouraged by seeing myself go up. But these guys, they are so in tune with what they do, and they believe in their strategy so much that they can trade like this. So you see here, this is a 1 to 20. You see the P&L, it still goes up, even if he's losing 90% of the time. So for you guys, you need to figure out what your strike rate is. Can you see, if you go back test and go through all the trades that you've done, whether on paper or real, how often do I get the direction right? So just worry about your direction. I think it's going to go up today. Oh yeah, cool. And I got that right, and I got it wrong, and I got it right on Monday. So you get a sort of an idea what your strike rate's like. Then all you need to do is figure out a way that you can get your strategy to look like this. So you want to have asymmetrical risk reward, meaning you don't want to risk $100 and you go, oh my God, I just made $40, and so I'm going to stop and cut your profit. Don't do that, because you need, if I put that back into that sheet, so your strike rate would have to be like 95% or something like that. And let's say let's go 0.5. You would have to be like that, but nobody gets 95% unless you're in some sort of MLM marketing scheme. But my strategy is the greatest in the world, bro. It's 100% win rate, it's guaranteed. No. It doesn't happen like that. So like the best you're gonna get, let's be realistic, let's say 60%, right? Because if you think about it, 50% is a coin flip. You're either gonna get it right or wrong, but if you use basic TA, like, you know, buy support and sell resistance, you're gonna give yourself a little bit of an edge. And if you're really good at TA, and you start, you know, trend lines and moving averages and all that other stuff, you give yourself a little bit of more edge. So let's say 60%. Even at 60%, 1-to-1, so not that I preach this, I'm more of a 1-to-2 sort of person, because I'm not that good, because my ego says that I am, and he yells in my ear and says, don't worry, it's going to turn around, bro. I go, oh, and it never does. So even with that, right, so 60%, basic TA, you risk $100, and once it gets to 100, then you take profit, it goes up. Now, be warned though, this is 1,000 trades, and on average it goes up. But check this out. Let's say, for example, that you started trading this strategy right here. And between here and here is like, there's about 60 trades in there, and that goes down. So let's say probability, you just happen to be unlucky, and you start here at this strategy at this point in time. The market was like this, and the strategy works because look at that, we're up, but there are moments where it goes down. So I've seen it where people start with one strategy, it doesn't work, and then they jump to another one, then they jump to another one, and they jump to another one, and they never make any money because they don't let the probability of long-term numbers play out. And then they get wrecked. And they give up and they say it's a scam. But it isn't always a scam. It's because you didn't let the probability play out. This is where backtesting is really important. And I'm way over time. So I'm going to gracefully give you the microphone, sir.